Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined with Bryan Leonard here. We're going to discuss how to handicap conference basketball tournament action. And don't forget to check out part one as Scott Spreitzer and Preston, the Sports Cheetah, gave their views on what they like to look at. And Bryan, we'll start with conference tournaments. I like it because it's something totally different from the rest of the season. You're going to have teams that, if they make the run, they could be playing 4 games in 4 days if they get to the conference championship a lot of times, and that's something we don't see during the regular season. So to me, there are a lot of different things to look at in conference tournament play, but I think it's one of the most exciting weeks of the season. I know everybody likes the opening week of March Madness, but there's some mismatches that opening week that here I just like it. Plus the fact that you have teams, even though they might be 5, 6, 7 games under 500, but they enter the tournament, they've got a new lease on life. They start like everybody else at 0-0 and could get into the big dance.
This is where the Cinderellas are born, as they say. If you've had a bad basketball season, you've got a chance to get to the NCAA tournament. How often does that happen? That doesn't happen in college football, I'll tell you that right now. You don't get a chance to play for the national championship. And that's the goal of this, is you've got a lot of guys that are out there, and they can get on that run. We've seen teams, bad teams, year in and year out, win 4 or 5 games in a row. If you win that kind of situation in the tournament here, hey, you're going to the big dance. The other thing is, it's different because not everybody plays with the same emotion and the same care, because a lot of these teams already know they're going to be a high seed in the tournament. And you start wondering, and they talk about this all the time, will this be better for a North Carolina or a team like that that expects to be one of the top 2 seeds in the country to get there and say, do we really want to play another game? We already got it locked up. And then so it's an interesting handicapping perspective.
Back in the days of the old Big East, not as much with the new configuration, but when you had the Syracuses, the Pitts, and Westfield, all those teams, when they battled the Big East at Madison Square Garden, a lot of times I felt the team that won that really was beat up because they play a more physical brand of basketball back in the day, and you play 4 grueling games like that and get to the championship, and then you turn around 4 days later and start a tournament conference or the big dance. A lot of times you're spent. You peaked too soon in that tournament, or you left it all on the floor at Madison Square Garden. So I know a lot of coaches, they don't want to see their team get, knocked out right away, but they don't have the intensity, and I don't think that they cry if they lose in the second or third game and don't go all the way to the championship when they've got a big seed already locked up. Are there other angles that you like to look at in conference tournament?
Well, you always talk about it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. But actually, I believe betting on that team the 3rd time is actually a little bit better than break even. But it all depends on what the situation is. I like to play on teams that are pretty evenly matched. And it's interesting because we had that game last week we talked about. Now I'm going to bring it up because I won. But UCLA plays Arizona, and they're 2 very equal teams. So one wins on one court and one wins on the other. You find that, at least I find that, 2 teams that are very equal are going to split out more than not. And then if you see a team that's gone 0-2 against that team, that's the team I'm looking to back, unless they've got some major situation where they just don't match up with them. But those are the teams that I think have a little bit of value.
Some things that I like to look at, and it's only for conference tournament situations, is I want to look at a team that if they played a tight game in the first round of the tournament, everybody looks and will say, oh, they were lucky to get through, and another team's coming off a blowout. I will take that team off the tight game for 2 reasons. One, the public reaction is, oh, well, they were lucky to win. It was a close game. The other team won in a romp. They're so much better. So you're going to get line value. But what I'm getting is experience. If this game that they're playing now, the second round, if it's a tight game, they've got an advantage over the team that just won in a romp because they've already had the pressure situation of going down to the wire and winning a game that if you lose, you're going home. So I like to take the team that had the tight game to go ahead and have another good game in the next one. And speaking of teams going to the next one, in these bigger conferences, the top seeds get a bye in the first round. Everybody automatically says that that is an advantage because they were rested and had an extra day. Boy, I'm losing my voice. I feel it's a disadvantage because you've already got a game under your belt. You're going to be getting extra line value with that team playing back-to-back nights, but you already know the rims. You know the court because a lot of times you're playing someplace that you haven't played before. Here in Las Vegas, they have tournaments where teams are coming in. Now, the Mountain West Conference tournament is held at UNLV. All those teams do play a road game at UNLV. But the Pac-12's coming here because this is a totally neutral site, and they're going to be playing at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. That's much bigger than a normal, gym that they would be playing in. So your sight lines are different, the rims are different. You've already played a game, you know all of that, and you got the butterflies or what else out from that first game. I like to take a team because they're usually going to be a dog in the second game.
I like your first point, and that reminds me of something else I like to do. Is you talked about a team that just didn't perform as well in the first game. I like to do that when that's the home team. For example, as you mentioned, since we're out in Las Vegas, if UNLV was playing in that first game and didn't play very well, I'm looking to play on that host team in the second game, and that happens all the time around college basketball. Is you have the team that comes out and they think, hey, we're in good shape. We've got the home field advantage or home court advantage for this tournament, and then they get scared. And then the next game right there, I think, is an excellent opportunity, and I've been doing that for years.
All right, good stuff, guys. And you can check out all the packages this weekend at WagerTalk. And if you want to save $10 on one of those packages, use coupon code UFC209. That's UFC209, and you'll get $10 off any package at wagertalk.com. Check it out. We'll be back next week with more action. It's conference tournament week. Next week, full force. We'll be here with coverage for you at wagertalk.com.